Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
It is 61 cents for XRP. And the reason I want to focus on that is because as it is sitting here at 61 cents, that's right, we're going to discuss the notion of how XRP can become 4 or 5 digits. That's right, 1,000, 5,000, $10,000 plus a coin. And not only how it can do that, but how it can do that and be the most reliable settlement tool on planet Earth over all other choices of assets or cash or value to use to settle anything in the world. We're going to take a look at that today, believe it or not, at 61 cents. That's what we're going to look at. I Trust Capital, ladies and gentlemen. The numbers in this show is brought to you by, we are pleased to announce the addition of Axie Infinity AXS to the I Trust Capital platform. They are doing amazing, amazing things at I Trust, ladies and gentlemen. Axie is a gaming universe that is completely owned by the players. Gamers use their Axies to battle, breed, and traverse the game universe. They have added so many things. Avalanche, Decentraland, you name it. There's so many choices in there. No monthly fees. It is the best crypto gold silver IRA on the planet, bar none. Click the link in the description and comment section. Let's get into this. We're going to start right here. Some of this you've seen, some of this you may have not. But trust me when I tell you, with where we sit today in the current climate, on the edge of an executive order for stablecoins and cryptocurrencies, I believe we are going to see compelling evidence today that points directly to the fact that XRP and XLM can become stablecoins. And no, that does not mean they will be worth just $1. Let's get started. So we understand that President Biden reportedly preparing to issue his executive order on stablecoins and crypto. According to multiple reports here, it would assign some government entities to study cryptocurrency, stablecoins, NFTs with the goal of developing a workable regulatory framework. So we know that. Late last year, just a month or so ago, we heard Jerome Powell say that he does not see cryptocurrencies as a financial stability concern. As we go forward, I think we're going to find out why. This is the Financial Stability Board report that came out when we covered it in October of 2020. It was the first time I had ever heard these two words strung together. Global Stablecoin, GSC. This entire report covers the understanding of how they would have a global stablecoin for the world and to be able to regulate it with all the different regions and jurisdictions around the world. I'm not going to go into it, but I will give you the definition. A stablecoin with the potential reach and adoption across multiple jurisdictions and the potential to achieve substantial volume. Now, let's move here to this piece, because this is a piece we covered in this morning's video, and this is from Vix Kernal Maiden, and I want to thank you for sharing this and tagging me. I covered it just for a little bit in the morning video, but what I want to show you now is inside of this language in a 2021 report. It specifically cites in this particular report that it, and matter of fact, I will let me get the closer report up for you. So here it is right here, a little easier to see. Stay with me now. We're going to look at a lot of information as we move through this. So let me just make sure and I have it all laid out for us today. So stable coins, this is from the World Bank. Notice the top left corner, World Bank document. And I have a question for you at the end of this video, and I want you to answer it for me. Stablecoins for cross-border payments. Stablecoin refers to a class of digital currencies that are relatively stable in terms of their price. Stablecoin offers instantaneous processing and security of payments, as many cryptocurrencies do. They also offer stability with respect to their parity against fiat currencies. Two digital currencies that fall into this category are RippleNet's native digital currency, Ripple XRP, and Stellar Networks' native cryptocurrency, the Stellar Lumen XLM. Both Ripple and Stellar enable faster and more efficient cross-border payments relative to correspondent banking. However, they differ in that the former aims to improve cross-border settlement between international banks, whereas the latter aims to provide low-cost cross-border payments financial services to end users and the unbanked population. It goes on, but that is enough for us to understand the World Bank document is referring to these two digital assets as stable coins. Now I want to take you to the first spot in this amazing interview that was back in 2020 of June by digital asset investor with Greg Kidd, an original investor in Ripple, formerly from the Federal Reserve. He holds 1 billion XRP. An option to it. So let's see this here. This is the first clip I'm going to play for you where he talks about how important liquidity is for XRP, more than price even. Listen to this.
So for Ripple to be successful, XRP needs to be liquid so there's not friction getting into it and out of it. That liquidity is in many ways more important than the absolute price, but to those of us that see it being in demand, well, when there's more demand than supply, the prices rise, and that's beneficial to be on that ticket.
So right there, he's talking about the liquidity, and then obviously, as the more demand you have, the prices rise, and it's nice to be on that end of it all, right? Very nice. Okay, so let's keep moving here, because what I want to show you now is this. This is a diagram that I put out back in 2020. And it is, let me pause here and set it up. Okay, so this is a diagram that I'm putting up here of back in 2020 when Ripple told us that they were, even years before that, they were looked at themselves as a lender of last resort from Miguel Villas back in 2017, 2018 timeframe. Well, in 2020, they told us that they were going to buy back even off of the exchanges, the secondary market buyback. So in the beginning, we saw Ripple would have to sell OTC over the counter to the exchanges, and now they're buying back. We've even recently seen that as well. But now we know that there's 50 billion plus in escrow. I have always believed that it's quite possible that escrow, because escrow by definition means a third party holds it. I have often believed that PolySign could be that escrow holder of the XRP that is in a cryptographically auto-locked account that releases every single month. Ripple does a very good job determining how much stays out for operation expenses and selling off to others, which they have stopped doing to exchanges since 2019, they said, right? So they put the rest on the back end of the escrow payment or the escrow releases, and move on. This is the kind of actions that you see out of a central bank. They also have created a lending platform and a lending side that they lend to customers now, which I truly believe sets up one of the grand exceptions to be a note, which is money, just like a Federal Reserve note like money. And if you lend to customers under a shortened time frame, you can be a note and not be a security, which would make it bona fide money or even a stable coin. But let's take a look at this. Here's another clip from that same interview with Greg Kidd, formerly of Ripple and the Federal Reserve, and he's talking about how he also believed that Ripple is acting and conducting themselves as a good steward in the manner just like a central bank. Take a listen to this.
You mean how much is an escrow locked up?
Right, locked up.
So they keep a proportion. It's like a central bank putting a lock on the gold down there so somebody can't run and just do a raid on the gold and sell it all and have a party. So they put a bunch of the XRP under lock so that the market knows it's not going to be flooded with Ripple selling XRP at any period of time. And that creates some sense of security that Ripple's acting sort of in the role of like a central bank to make sure that there's no debasement of the currency.
To make sure that there's no debasement of the currency, as he refers to it, acting in the role of a central bank. Okay? All right, this is getting good, right, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, let's keep this going, right? So we've seen the diagram, we've heard from Greg Kidd on that. Now let's talk about this right here. This is what we recently found out. Ripple shares aren't the only thing they've been buying back. Ripple also purchased $321 million plus of XRP off of the secondary market, and appears they didn't sell any to exchanges. You want to know how they get it back? I just told you. This is the actual cut of what we need to see from the Ripple fourth quarter report. Hasn't conducted any programmatic sales since the fourth quarter of 2019, which means, and this is from Today, from that, talking about the Ripple Q4 report of 2021. And it says here it didn't sell any XRP tokens to exchanges during the fourth quarter. And then we go on to the next piece, which is also highlighting from the Q4 report of Ripple. It says Ripple says that it keeps seeing more global demand for on-demand liquidity, which now boasts 20 payout markets, and it purchased $321 million worth of XRP in the secondary market, which is where we buy. Now let's take a look at this, because now I'm reminded of what is really going on here. We talk about XRP a lot, the token. We don't often talk about XRP Ledger, the protocol. The protocol is extremely important because I believe this will be what is collateralized with so many different assets, including fiat government dollars from around the world, gold, oil, and many, many other assets that will be tokenized from different sectors of the economy and placed onto the ledger. Why do I say onto the XRP ledger? Because the XRP ledger is, in fact, the first decentralized exchange. Don't believe that, it's still true. Now let's take a look at some more evidence here, right? So let's hear from Glenn Hutchins as he reminds us of the protocols of the early internet and then of the XR Ripple protocol.
Gotten into that, but we've just seen a huge meltdown over the past 12, 15 months. But you're still a believer? So, if we'd been sitting here together in 2002, we probably were. You would have asked me, the internet. We've just seen this huge meltdown in the last 12 to 15 months. Are you still a believer? Right? Yep. And so the answer is yes. Now the digital currency solution is the most important technological advance I've seen since the internet. It has the capacity to do lots more, but it certainly has the capacity to enable us to move anything of value around the world at the speed of light at no cost. It has three components. It has a token of value, which is called the Bitcoin. It has an accounting mechanism, which is called the blockchain. But the most important piece, which is one that people aren't focusing on, is the protocol. The underlying protocol by which we agree to conduct these transactions. So you use a series of protocols every day, and you don't even think about it. You don't think about the internet protocol. You don't think about the simple mail technology protocol. You don't think about the file transfer protocol. You don't think about the high-text translation protocol. I go through it, right? You just make use of the technology, and the protocols make it work. The people who really understand what's going on with digital currencies understand that putting these protocols in place, the blockchain protocol, the Ethereum protocol, the Ripple protocol, the Ripple protocol, the Ripple protocol, and then enabling those protocols to cause transactions to occur. And then those transactions can be defined very broadly as not just moving things of value, but anything that's got an information content. Is extraordinarily transformative. The focus on the value of the token is distracting and uninformative.
And it is. Now, let's do this. So let's focus on the protocol for a second and not the token. Allbridge adds support for the XRP ledger. cross-chain bridge brings XRP to 10 ethereal virtual machine and non-EVM compatible blockchains, including Ethereum itself, Avalanche, Solana, Terra, Polygon, Phantom, Binance Smart Chain, Celo, Aurora, Harmony, and Hecko. The integration will also bring assets such as AVAX, Sol, Luna, and Matic, as well as USD Tether, USDC, and UST stablecoins directly to the XRP ledger, leveraging its built-in decentralized exchange. It's not just a protocol, it's a decentralized exchange. And once everything is collateralized and plugged into this protocol, decentralized exchange, you can begin building the liquidity to be able to pair all of these different assets of value, no matter what they are, whether they are digital assets, tokenized fiat, stable coins, or tokenized oil, gold, and so forth. So, with that being said, take a look at this. More evidence of plugging in the protocol and the decentralized exchange market infrastructure, with Ripple announcing over in Europe from Cindy Young, saying that Modular's collaboration will help companies such as Trust Payments to improve cross-border payments thanks to Ripple-powered DLT platform RippleNet, making it cheaper and faster. They point out that through UK and Europe, it is Swift, SEPA, Bax, Chaps, etc., and all of these different companies, including the Bank of England, that will be able to benefit from this connection. We also know that this protocol allows for the ability to build a private ledger for the central banks to launch central bank digital currencies, for which they have already begun to launch certain central bank digital currencies, let's say for the Central Bank of Bhutan, the Republic of Palau, and who knows who else at this point. Then we come back to this. This is right here, the World Bank again, and I'm showing it for a reason, talking about XRP and XLM becoming and being stable coins for cross-border payments. So you ask yourself, how does it become a stable coin? Well, let's take a look at one of the ways right here. By collateralizing the ledger, by collateralizing the XRP ledger, and really collateralizing and bringing into play the use of the first decentralized exchange for the world and all the money. By putting a certain amount of these released dollars from Nostro accounts and putting that money into backing their fiat reserves and tokenize either stable coins or central bank digital currencies on the ledger. By bringing commodities like gold and oil and tokenized securities like stock, bonds, and options onto the ledger. This is how you bring a price set or a price floor by collateralizing the ledger with a certain amount of assets and money, providing a floor price that it will never dip below, giving the confidence to anyone using it on a grand scale like the central banking system and the clearing houses, the confidence to understand your investment in using this asset is not a waste of time, because it will be more reliable than any other asset on planet Earth. Because if it isn't, why in the hell would you ever even use it? That's what we're talking about. Now let's take a look at this. Remember this R3 report on FedCoin, a central bank issued cryptocurrency? Everybody understood it to be a CBDC? Well, why not a stable coin, just like the World Bank talked about just last November? The alternative way to create a FedCoin would be to pre-allocate the entire supply of tokens, say 100 trillion FedCoin. This block would immediately be awarded to the central bank to be held in reserve until they required it. Ripple set the precedent for 100% pre-allocation. At its inception, the entire 100 billion supply of XRP, Ripple's native token, was created outright, much of it retained by Ripple Labs, while the rest was auctioned off are given away. What's interesting about this is I believe you start to understand that this is how an executive order on stable coins and cryptocurrencies could come into play here. And how could they do that? Well, I'll tell you how they could do that. They could do that by this. And before we take a look at that, I do not mean that XRP would be $1. What I mean is that just as the example is down here, is for example, they could choose as the collateral grows on the use of this decentralized exchange, so could too the adjustment of the price of this stable coin, the floor of that stable coin price. In other words, you could peg it to a $200 bill, a $100 bill, $500 bill, a $1,000 bill, a $10,000 bill. This is what could be done. Don't believe it? Well, take a look here. Because in this executive order, new referee coming to regulate the regulators, we understand that from Brownstein here, we need to pay very close attention to, that's right, FSOC determines that cryptocurrencies create or increase a significant liquidity credit or other problems spreading among financial markets of the United States. According to the Dodd-Frank Act from the last crisis we had, FSOC's broad authorities under Dodd-Frank Act may prove to be the battleground for the future of regulation of digital assets because of its broad, super regulatory power. This is what we're talking about. And FSOC, the Financial Stability Oversight Council, is a regulatory agency connected to the Treasury. So is OFAC. So you have the domestic side regulatory body to the Treasury, and you have OFAC that looks at the foreign side for sanctions on that side of it. They could easily come in and write and craft new regulations of cryptocurrencies and stablecoins, exactly what this executive order is supposed to do to begin with. This gets very interesting to see this path that we're on here, doesn't it? Take a look at this. This is an old clip shared right here by Nathan Price. And take a look at what Andrew Sorkin asked the former SEC chairman, Jay Clayton, in this clip.
When cryptocurrencies were backed effectively by governments, right? That this could become the future. And so one of the things that I think people wonder about is, if something like that were to ultimately happen, would that be validating of all of these new forms of currency, whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of these other kinds of things? Or would you think that would ultimately crowd out these things because you finally have a regulated version of this?
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.